like I said, I was living in Colombia for 4 years, so I always connected um, via like the webcam and BMIR. So this it kind of feels good that everyone's kind of coming home to me.
Great, great. Sounds good.
Yes.
Um, and
Yeah.
uh, and so yeah, just wanted to say welcome to Ideate to both of you. Um, my name is Sublime or Jeff in the default world, and I actually led this camp the last 2 years, not this year. So I have quite deep roots in Ideate, and it's very close to my heart. So it's great to have you here and great to have you in the virtual world. Um, so yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit, and this is going to be, obviously a very casual conversation because it's just a few of us here. But I wanted to talk about Burning Man's relevance to the pandemic and more broadly to existential risk and the future of humanity. And
Uh-huh.
so I've been going to Burning Man for 4 years. Well, this is technically my fifth if we're counting the virtual burn. And what I've come to realize is that this year of not going to Burning Man has been allowing me to process a lot of things. What were the key lessons that I learned about myself and the world at Burning Man? And so a couple of years ago, I went to a talk by a guy named Jamie Wheel, and Jamie got up and he started talking about existential risk, aka the threats to the future of humanity. And this was the first time that I had seriously been to a talk where someone was talking about the idea of systemic crises, of of economic collapse, of system collapse. And so Burning Man, truthfully, was the first place that I even learned to start thinking about this topic. And so that was in 2017. Now it's 2020. And so in a way, Burning Man gave me a heads up for the world to come because of the fact that it gave me an education in terms of what does systemic risk look like. That was just the beginning. I ended up learning a lot more. Um, but first of all, the relevance of the pandemic is that Burning Man, in a lot of ways, gave me the skill sets and the mindsets to think about this topic. Just wanted to welcome. Oh, hey Herman, how's it going?
Nice to see you.
Herman, do you want to introduce
Hi,
yourself?
Mary.
Hey, I'm Herman. On Playa, I'm usually human, but I couldn't figure out how to call myself this time. I'm Alfred. So here I am.
Cool. And Herman is also a member of Ideate.
Hello.
This is Karma calling from the East Coast.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. So Herman, we are talking about the relevance of Burning Man to a pandemic and to existential risk. And I was just saying that I learned about existential risk when I first came to Burning Man, or when a couple years ago at Burning Man in 2017. And so all of us know that in some ways there's kind of a cultural stigma around Burning Man, that it's seen as somewhat elite, that it's seen as maybe out of touch, and people will say that it's a party for billionaires and for techies out in the desert that is disconnected from real issues and real problems. And my argument against that, though there is truth to that, is that Burning Man, in fact, is exactly what society needs in order to start building a world that we're able to actually plan for pandemics. Why is that? Well, so actually, I'll just open this up. So Karma, I would ask the question: what is wrong with the current system, and why is the government and why are companies screwing up the pandemic so much right now? What's going wrong?
Everybody is acting stupid and um, not together and not doing the right thing. I don't know. It's yeah, it's not working.
So there's a
We need.
problem with human. Go ahead.
Oh,
Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say we need some um, true someone who can lead us uh, on a good way. I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain. What were you
So
gonna
there's
say?
Yeah, no, those are great points. So there's a problem with human behavior. You talked about this idea of stupidity, that people are not behaving correctly. Um, but there's also there's a leadership void, that we don't have leaders who are stepping up, who are genuinely telling us what needs to happen, and they're not dealing with the problems appropriately. And so I think that let's get right to it, is that this is a sign that the systems are not working. In my opinion, humans will do the right thing if the incentives are in the right places. So people are people. People oftentimes behave selfishly, or they're behaving according to fear or short-term interest. But if we were able to design a system that taught them to behave better, that everything would be better. And so, Herman, I guess, what's an example of what is a current human behavior that isn't working, that if the system were working better, that people would behave in a better way?
I think one of the things that's interesting to me is that there's sort of this innate sense that we need to get back to the normal that we're used to, right? So that is part of the issue, is that, and I think that's also the lack of leadership that Karma was talking about a little bit earlier, is that the general perspective is we can get back to something that feels familiar, and rather than to see that the familiar has actually contributed a lot to where we are right this minute, and that this is an opportunity to actually re-establish a system for a future that is very, very different from the kind of reality that we have just sort of kind of left behind, that we're yearning to get back to. And I think you know, that's the opportunity now.
Yes.
There's the question: normalcy. What does normal mean?
Exactly.
And is normal healthy? And is there going back, or is there something that we're going forward? Sean, do you have anything to add on that note?
Could you ask me the question again?
So I would ask the question of what isn't working in what we're seeing in the world right now, as it relates to the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm not sure if it could be in relation to the pandemic, but maybe just kind of a lack of like empathy.
Lack of empathy
towards, like, at least in America, it's like, you know, one side doesn't understand the other, and there's no middle ground. Like, there's no seeing from the other side. It's like if you come from a different camp, then you're automatically like stupid. Like, there's like people can't empathize with someone else who's different from them, and that's how we're gonna get along in the end.
Got it. So we really are recognizing that, first of all, this is a people problem. That this is it's not anything other than us that is the problem as a collective. But the second side of it is that we desperately need new ideas in terms of how to get along with each other and how to encourage people to do the right thing. That we need new ideas. And so, in one way, Burning Man can easily be portrayed as a place where out of touch techies just go to run around and do drugs and escape. And some people do treat Burning Man as escape. But we also know that Burning Man produces a plethora, an abundance of new ideas about the world, that there are a lot of people at Burning Man who are having conversations like these ones. So the next question I would ask is, why is Burning Man a good place to come up with new ideas?
Well,
and go ahead, John.
Whenever you're out of your element, it's a good time to, you know, reflect, because you get outside your normal frame of thought.
Yeah.
So just even like, you know, going on any trip to anywhere, you can get a nice frame of reference. So yeah. Hi, Mary.
Awesome. Welcome. Who's visiting?
Hi,
Meta. Hi.
Meta.
Yes, hi, Meta. Welcome. And then
hey guys, since Meta just arrived, I'm going to have to.
Hi, Marie, Klaus. You're leaving, Herman?
Yeah, I actually sadly have to leave, but I just wanted to check in with you guys. It sounds fantastic. I'm really enjoying the conversation.
Check the stream later.
Great, cool. Welcome, Marie Klaus. Welcome, Alicia, Life of the Tree. Okay, great. So just to catch everyone up quickly, we're talking about the relevance of Burning Man in a pandemic. Why is Burning Man relevant to a pandemic? So just to catch you up in the conversation, we said that the world is not working because people are not behaving correctly, they're not treating each other well, and we have a lack of leadership. So then there's the question of we need new ideas. So why is Burning Man a good place for new ideas? Do you have any ideas about that, Meta?
Yeah, actually, it comes to something. Oh, is there an echo? Oh,
yeah, there's an
it's
echo.
It's my partner's microphone. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, you guys split into twins now.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's better. Yeah, so why is Burning Man a good place to come up with new ideas, not just for personal, but for the planet?
Yeah, I guess I was thinking about it in terms of why Burning Man wasn't held this year. And of course, there are the many obvious reasons, and primary amongst them would be people's safety. And then I thought to myself, well, Burning Man is one of the most amazing communities in the world because they follow principles and do that together willingly. So isn't COVID safety just another set of principles? And might it, here they are, if this set of rules continues, in which we can flourish, actually.
Fascinating. So there's this sense of collective agreements that everybody buys into. Everyone agrees that this is how, not everybody at Burning Man, but broadly speaking, the culture of Burning Man is oriented towards a codified set of principles, which isn't necessarily legal, because it's not, a lot of it is intentionality. It's not oriented around you must engage in radical self-expression, but it still is something that is everyone has bought into. And so COVID is not just a matter of enforcement. There's also acting in good faith. There's all acting according to values. Excellent. Who else is around here? Did you have any thoughts on Life of a Tree? Do you have any thoughts on why is Burning Man a good place for new ideas?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, great. One thing come to my mind is I think because Burning Man has been held for decades already, so it's kind of experiment of utopia society in a mini society. So in that way, probably to bring it to the next stage or next level is a perfect timing to expand and bring to the next stage.
Wonderful. So there is this sense of almost human evolution. It's developmental, of leveling up towards the next phase of human behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. So one of the things that I wanted to specifically bring up, is there anyone over here? Yeah. That I wanted to bring up is the idea of crisis. So COVID is a crisis, and we certainly have realized that our leaders were desperately unprepared for their ability to handle a crisis, and there was a sense of breakdown that really our society was brought to its knees by all of these things. And so crises are something that is omnipresent at Burning Man, that as a leader last year I was dealing with an incredible number of crises, and this sense of feeling like camp was going to break down. And how do we prevent crises? How do we deal with them on the fly? And so the question I would open to the group is, what have you learned about crisis at Burning Man? Your own personal crises, group crisis. Anyone have any ideas?
Yes.
Go ahead.
We can solve problems when we want to.
Yeah.
We can evolve together. I mean, on the personal side too, first, but then also together, which is a big part of it. Yeah.
So immediately from discussing crises, we already talk about solving problems. That because we are forced into extreme conditions, which push us in a physical level, they push us in an emotional level, spiritual, in all these ways, that Burning Man pushes us to solve our own problems in a way that perhaps we can kick the can down the road, in back in the default world. And our society has certainly been kicking the can down the road in a number of ways, but we're all guilty. I'm getting an echo. Does someone not have headphones in?
Yeah, maybe you put headphones in.
Yeah, so
Gears.
yeah, someone needs to put in headphones because I have an echo. So I guess I really am interested in personal stories. What is a crisis that came up for you at Burning Man where it felt like you were completely messed up by a situation and you figured it out? Do you have any ideas, Meta?
Well, I've actually only been to regionals, so I wouldn't
Okay.
say Burning Man level crises. But I guess at the two Bequinox events that we attended in California City and those areas, like both times were very weather-wise, like unexpectedly cold at night. And it's really just about flexibility. I mean, I think if you take any number of people and they enjoy each other's company and they're willing to be flexible, then crises are quickly solved. But anytime there are people that are inflexible or don't like the idea of change, that the crisis gets worse.
That's exactly right. Is that it's when people are able to work together and when everybody's on the same page and there's a sense of a shared mission in getting this done, we get it done. People are very adaptive. And so this is where we start to understand that the root cause of the pandemic really is our cultural, social problems, that there's a problem in the cultural fabric that is preventing us from responding to the crisis in a legitimate and real way. And so in areas where we learn that burners can respond to crises, our broader society is not.
Yeah.
So yeah, did anyone, go ahead, Sean.
I'm glitching out. I can't see anything right now, but I wanted to say that, yeah, maybe, whenever you go to the playa, you have to, like, part of the journey is dealing with some crap and, like, getting through it. And so, like, the crisis is, like, kind of accepted. And maybe that's what, in the default world, it's not like accepted like that. Like a crisis is maybe a bad thing. Normally in Burning Man, you come out of a crisis a better person. It's like a
Bingo.
It's like a supportive like thing. And maybe like in the default world, it's not accepted as part of the process. But you know what? We're always gonna have crises. So like it's all about responding to them and coming out of them in a good way rather than being like, oh my God, we're like in a crisis. What the hell?
Yes. Yes. This is a brilliant point, is that like we start to understand at Burning Man that crises are an important part of our development, that we go through it and we come out stronger, and that actually like we're glad it happened to us. And the way that our current society treats crises is that it's just let's avoid them at all costs. We don't want to deal with the difficulty. We don't want to deal with the hardship. We want to be comfortable all the time. And I think the point is that if you suppress those crises, they're just going to rear their ugly head in a much worse way than naturally letting them come up and dealing with them and the flexibility and the growth that comes along with it. Hi, Happy Gears, welcome.
Hey, hi.
We're talking about Burning Man. We're talking about Burning Man and its implications for the pandemic.
Okay.
So one of the things that I've really thought a lot about at Burning Man is the fact that that Burning Man is a huge reason why I decided that I could not pursue a career that wasn't geared towards social impact, that wasn't geared towards existential risk, that I learned that I simply just didn't have time. And that even more so, that when I started to learn about the topic of existential risk, I actually got chills down my spine because I started to find a lot of purpose and meaning in the idea that, the whole planet is dealing with some major problems right now, and we're not on a good course, but that this actually is a profound opportunity for my own personal awakening and all of you as well, that there's great opportunity in this, that this is perhaps our, in a movie, this is like the superheroes' call to action towards greater causes, greater purposes. Go ahead.
What do you mean by higher purpose?
So the question I'm asking is there any opportunity for you to achieve your destiny or become a greater person through the pandemic?
I guess in a sense, I feel that we're still too early on, like in the middle of the trip and not yet at the come down. And so I don't know how I'll plug in differently or make a difference in that way.
Great. Okay, that's a really good point. So maybe it's too early to figure this out. Did anyone else have any ideas of ways to step up and have a higher purpose?
I mean,
breathing exercise, and as a woman, you need to breathe into your pussy. It was just like, what?
Okay, yeah, get the fuck out of here.
It was really
Adrian, go ahead.
wow. Yeah, I mean,
What's up,
I think this is really the opportunity for us to
good
really
Have you seen my
promote connection. Everybody
Yes.
is stuck at home, so it's like,
Yes.
why not embrace that instead of seeing it as something that's so difficult and it's like, oh shit, we have to do this. No, we don't have to. We get to be, with family now.
Right.
Use this as
Yes.
an opportunity to really see. I mean, I work from home already, so I truly enjoy working from home. But now it's like, okay, now you get to work from home and spend more time with your wife or your husband or whoever and your kids. And let's look at the positive of this, And if you're in business like I am, let's build. Everybody's at home. By law, you have to be at home. So talk to the CEOs and the other people that you wouldn't normally speak to, because now you have the opportunity without all the gatekeepers.
Yes, this is exactly on point. And I think like the relevance of Burning Man to a pandemic is that when we go to Burning Man, we learn to build. We learn to build physical things. We learn to build community. And we're also building ourselves up. And so I think that that's like a huge reason why we all go every year is to build ourselves up while the world seems like it's falling apart. Was there someone else who wanted to say something? Any other thoughts on building? Hey, Dallas. So I guess the point with this is that we are, when we're all at Burning Man, we are very much on the cutting edge. We are in an because it's experiential and